Hey everyone, welcome back to Star Quality. This is our first paywall subscriber only episode. So if you're hearing this as a free subscriber, you're hearing the little teaser at the beginning to hear what we're going to get into for today. And if you're a paid supporter, thank you. And we're going to have a really nice episode today because today's all about solar returns. You might have heard this term before. Typically, we're wishing people happy solar return when it's their birthday. So the solar return chart, which isn't what I offer, and I offer this as a birthday reading because we are going to be looking at the solar year from birthday to birthday. Also, since we're on video. Hello. If you're listening on audio, great. But this is going to be a visually heavy episode. We're going to have a lot of chart screen sharing because I'm going to be using my own natal charts as examples of past solar returns. And then we're also going to look ahead at this current year's solar return because I just had mine. And so I think it'd be fun after we look back at my past solar returns and I can confirm what did and didn't happen because that's what we're using solar returns for a lot, right? We're going to see like what's the themes of the years ahead. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, I did prep a little bit before this because I just, didn't want to get on and just sit and stare at charts without a little prep. And I looked back at a few years of charts. We're going to look at not like every year since I was born, but we're going to look at basically from 2020 on to now. So we'll have, four solar return charts we're going to look at, including the one upcoming. And yeah, a lot of things were accurate and a lot of themes that were the themes did come true. So I think it's just a really powerful tool to use, especially when there's so many factors in our chart. There's so many factors in the mundane transiting astrology. The solar return is really nice to narrow in on a single year and to just like, yeah, I don't know. It feels like a syllabus at the beginning of your birthday year. Also, if you're watching on video, you're probably seeing a little gray tail moving around on my side. That's my cat, Rosie. I'm lifting her up right now. She is so cute. If whenever I start talking, she comes. So she's a mama's girl. She's going to be hanging out by me. If you hear purring, she's a really loud purr. That might happen. I'm on my couch in my office. I have my cute little Betty Boop lamp over my shoulder. This is called my Venus corner. I have my like Venus de Milo tapestry up there, disco ball. I really just like love this part of my house. Obviously, Libra, 0 degree, immune quelli. If you know, you know. So yeah, Rosie will be here. I will be here, and I'm gonna get screen sharing in just a second. Okay, did I say exactly what the solar return chart is? Let me pull up the visual, and then we can get into it. But basically, this is gonna be when the sun returns to the degree and minute and second of your natal sun. I'll show you an example right now. Actually, wait a second. Before I screen share, a little housekeeping. First and foremost, my reading calendar is open. There will be a link in the show notes. So if you are looking to book a reading, my May calendar is now open. And there is a discount code. I am offering $20 off for these May readings. And that code will be at the end of the episode. So, free folks, I hope you do subscribe. Paid people, thank you for supporting Star Quality and Stevie's Email Energy and this Substack. So, $20 off coupon will be at the end of the episode. So, make sure to stay tuned to the end. And I'm going to screen share my 2024 solar return chart right now. And I'm going to just show you like what a solar return chart is because yes, it is your birthday, but also your solar return can actually happen sometimes not on your birthday. It might be like the night before or right after the morning after because what we're looking for is it returning to the degree of your sun. So that may or may not always be on your birthday. It's usually like on your birthday proper, but it can sometimes be a little staggered from night before, morning after. So let's look at this solar return chart and get into how to read one for yourself. Okay, we are now screen sharing. So if you have not been watching on video, this might be a nice time to. But of course, audio is fine as well. If you can visualize it, fabulous. So, this is my solar return chart for this year. This was for my birthday was on May 2nd. But as you see, my solar return was actually May 1st, at 7:26 p.m. here in Los Angeles. Okay, let's start with the first possibly controversial thing first. Some astrologers are going to do your solar return set to where you're born always. The idea is that the sun is coming back to the place that you're born, and this is now casting the themes for the year. I use where you are for that solar return. Like, I was in Los Angeles for this solar return, so I'm going to use Los Angeles. Like, if I was in Rome for a different birthday, I would put Rome. I think because my thought is wherever you are is where the sun is coming back for you. And it's like, I just like the idea of it being about where you're at in that moment. Now, some folks might even say, let's say you're on vacation in Rome, but you normally live in Los Angeles. Some folks would say to do it to where you are the most. Truly dealer's choice. A lot of the times in the US, it's not going to change it that much. I mean, for me, it does a little bit, but I do it to where I'm experiencing the return. There actually is this really there was this really great article that came out. When did that come out? Let me look. Okay, this came out last year. So this is a New York Times article called "Why Did I Spend My Last Birthday Alone in Alaska? Asked My Astrologer," by Maya Guianieri. Probably not saying that right, but anyways, so this was the article that was had a lot of buzz because this article basically was about how this writer would go to different places around the world depending on where the astrologer told them to go, because that would change the location of the solar return chart. So this astrologer would be like, go to Alaska because this is going to light up your relationship sector, or like go to this place. So this writer was like going to different places like that they didn't even really want to travel to necessarily, but just because the astrology for the solar return chart was good. I think it's super interesting. I will link the article and you can be the judge on if you think solar return should be where you were born, where you spend the most time, or where you actually are just having the return, even if it's somewhere you're traveling. So, anyways, that's my that's my rant. There's no like so many things in astrology. You'll notice also too, as you're getting to watch more of my visual sharing of my work, I use Placidus. I do use, modern rulers. I'm a modern girly. So if you're hardcore Hellenistic, which I've studied under Hellenistic practices as well, I'm aware no one's wrong, no one's right. These are all like almost different dialects of how we're learning astrology. So let's get that out of the way. Okay, great. Thank you for listening to my rant. All right. Now, this is my solar return chart for 2024, and I would love to look at this after we go maybe back to the past. But just want to highlight the solar return. I'm using Luna software, and so I set the return navigator here towards the sun. Not a sponsored ad yet, but just shouting out what software I actually use. If I like go here by year, as you see, I'm going back in time. Here's 2023 in LA. I was actually in San Francisco. We can talk about it, but that really won't change it that much because it's basically in the same astrological area. But I could keep going back forever and see what different themes might be coming up for me. Let's go to current. Another thing I should reiterate is this does not mean you have a new natal chart. You'll always have your natal chart. That's a static forever thing. This is basically like casting a birth chart for the day of your solar return. And a solar return marks a solar year. So this would be from birthday to birthday. So this isn't my forecast for just 2024 as a whole. This is basically from May 1st for this return. Actually, I can look at next year's. Let's see. This is basically from May 1st at 7:26 p.m. until May 2nd of next year. So I can even look ahead at solar returns too. Because the great thing about astrology is we know where everybody's going. That's why we can look so far ahead and so far back in the past, because the planets are, while they have some interesting irregular patterns, are very predictable. Okay, let's go back to my most recent solar return that I completed. Um, because now we can talk about it. Astrology is a great tool for retrospection, retrospective looks, because, of course, it's so fun to spectate on the future and what might happen. But a lot of the times, the astrology is going to give us a lot of clarity on what went down and if those things ring true for us or not. Um, so, what you want to look at first in a solar return chart, just because I'm like that. Let me do it to where it actually was in San Francisco to see if it changed anything. Oh my God, that's not 2022, 2023. Okay, perfect. Okay, it changed the degree of the rising a little bit, but that's why I like to do it. When we're looking at a solar return chart, the first thing that we definitely want to look at is